first of all, what do West Virginia and Alabama and Florida and Georgia and Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, did I say Florida? And Florida all have in common? Well, their state attorneys general have sent a letter to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services asking for stricter regulations over something called the health law navigators. What are the health law navigators, and why could they be a threat to our security? Joining us now to talk about this is the Attorney General from the great state of West Virginia, Patrick Morrisey. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, it's great to be on your program, Steve.
Well, it's great. Thank you. It's great to have you on. Talk about this letter, and first tell us what these navigators that are being hired under the Obamacare fiasco. What are these navigators, and what are they going to do?
Sure. So under Obamacare, there are many, many provisions. One of them envisions that these navigators are hired, and these are basically individuals who are going to be helping people obtain health insurance. They're going to be assisting them and navigating them through the state and federal health insurance exchanges. So they're basically designed as facilitators. But what that means is that they are going to be having access to literally millions of American consumers and are going to obtain information with respect to some of the most sensitive consumer information, such as Social Security numbers and maybe some medical status. So these are the point people, if you will, who are going to be helping out the implementation on the ground floor. So what our office did, along with 12 other attorneys general, is we started to focus on the outrageous privacy deficiencies within these navigator rules, which we think could lead to identity theft run amok. It's a serious problem that we really want to focus on because, look, a lot of us are not supportive of Obamacare, but if it's going to go into effect on October 1st, we have a lot of questions that need to be answered to make sure that consumer identities are not stolen. So a number of us got together, sent a letter into HHS asking a series of questions that are very serious because we have to get to the bottom of it. And if we can't, then we need to absolutely delay this law another year.
Well, okay, so you gave Kathleen Sebelius until August 28th to respond. If she doesn't, and if you can't, as you said, get to the bottom of this, when you say we need to delay it, but you guys, don't have any power to do that, you could call for it, I guess, but only, as we well know by now, the Republicans or the House and the Congress has the power of the purse, and they could delay it, and it doesn't look like the Republican leadership has the stomach for it.
Well, Congress certainly could take the steps to delay if that would need the president's signature, but I think this is an important point for this reason. Right now, we're less than 6 weeks away from the open enrollment period on October 1st. That's not very much time. And I'd like to just give you a couple examples as to why this is problematic.
Absolutely, sure.
But what I'm going to start out and say this. I think everyone is familiar with what happened recently with the NSA, right, with respect to all the safeguards that the NSA has had in place to supposedly stop confidential information from being shared about our national secrets. Let's look at how they've done. Now, let's go to the Obamacare navigators in terms of what they're supposed to do to protect consumer privacy when there are such a limited number of mechanisms in place to prevent inappropriate disclosures. Wait until we find out the answer to that question. That's one of the reasons why all of the attorneys generals are very concerned about what's going on. Because these navigators are going to be in possession of so much sensitive information, we need to take some additional steps now. Now, the other point that I would make is that this isn't simply coming from individuals who are poo-pooing the implementation of a law. These are legitimate consumer protection concerns. If you're going to have individuals with access to such sensitive information, why would you, if you're the Obama administration, cut down the training requirements from 30 hours to 20? Why would you not put in place a provision which had mandatory criminal background checks on these individuals who are going to have access to some of the most sensitive private information of an individual? And then third, why would you have these privacy standards be so vague that there's really no clear direction as to how the navigators should be implementing this. All this says is that with less than 6 weeks before open enrollment, and when these navigators effectively have 32 business days to hire thousands of people, train and implement a system to help people enroll in Obamacare, we should not have much confidence in this process unless the administration deals with it now.
You know, I'm just going to say, Mr. Attorney General, the nightmare and the train wreck get worse and larger in scope as the days go by and we find out more information. And now this whole thing, it is just crazy. At the very least, they should have this mandatory check for criminal backgrounds. I mean, that just goes without saying.
Oh, look, and remember, this is the same administration that just delayed the employer mandate provision for a year when they arguably lacked the statutory authority to do it. They delayed a recent provision which capped the amount of catastrophic expenses that patients would be liable for because they weren't able to get their systems in place in a timely enough manner. And they wait and they roll out this Navigator program. They just announced these 105 grants on August 15th, and it gave them 32 business days to get everything together. Meanwhile, this is 3.5 years after passage.
Yeah, I know.
Law.
It is just insane. Mr. Attorney General, we thank you for your time, and we'll follow this, and we'll have you back. Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Attorney General Patrick Morrisey from West Virginia. It is a train wreck. Wait till you hear about what's going on in New Jersey, and you tell me if this is a trend all over the country on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.